Only one African-American juror is going to be serving in the Ahmaud Arbery murder case. The 25-year-old was killed last year out jogging in Brunswick, Georgia, and his mom says that she is devastated to hear about the jury makeup.
Seeing the African-American jurors come in and they were questioned so harshly by the defense team, and seeing them all struggle, I mean, it was very hard, and it was just, it's like unreal. I mean, I just can't put it into words. I was very shocked that we only had one black African-American man, and I mean, it's devastating.
The state challenged the racial makeup of the jury, but the judge denied their motion. The defense insists, though, that the jury is diverse.
And the jurors that we have found cut across all lines, cut across gender, cut across age, cut across race and ethnicity. And we're very pleased that we have been able to select now 16 members of this community, where this community can now decide the pending issues of this indictment, and we truly believe that they will do so fairly.
The jury must decide whether Gregory McMichael and his son Travis, along with William Bryan, are guilty of murdering Arbery, who was out jogging in their neighborhood. Legal expert, our own HLN, Joey Jackson, is joining us now. You know, Joey, even the judge indicated there appeared to be intentional discrimination in the selection of the jury. So then if you're the judge, why let it proceed?
Yeah, this is a big deal, Robin, and it's a big deal because remember what trials are about. They're about points of view, and those points of view are going to be divergent in this case. The one point of view obviously ascribed by the prosecutor is that this shouldn't have happened, didn't need to happen, there was no justification for it to happen, and as a result of that, you're guilty. On the other hand, the defense arguing, hey, self-defense. We believe that he was in the neighborhood up to nefarious things. As a result, we had a right under the citizen's arrest law to chase him. The reason I say that is because the audience you're speaking to has to be receptive to the message that you're suggesting, and that's why jury selection is so very important. And now the issue then, from a prosecutor's perspective, right, for this case, you want a diverse jury pool who could evaluate the evidence and ultimately render a fair determination. That's not to suggest that if you're white, you're going to rule one way, if you're black, you're going to rule another, but certainly these things creep into it. So as a result, when you're selecting a jury, you want to ensure that the demographics are consistent with the community, which is 70% white, 25% black. Here, as we look there, one black juror, 11 white jurors, and you have the defense excluding 11, right? 11 exclusions as to African Americans. What's the reason given? Well, I don't know, Judge, we just don't like them, right? Now, the judge, to your point, Robin, saying, wait, this is intentional discrimination, but let's start the trial anyway. No, there's a remedy. What could you do? You could bring back the jurors you excluded and potentially incorporate them. You can strike the jurors that are on the jury pool now and start over again. You could strike some of the jurors. And so I think that, final point, in the event there's an acquittal, a hung jury here, people, of course, are going to be concerned, right, with respect to was there justice here? Should this have been the way? The system doesn't work for everyone. And so I think what you need to do if you're the judge is you need to avoid those concerns, make sure the process is fair. And if you say that there's intentional discrimination, you said it, right, do something about it. Nothing was done. And I think that's a major concern moving forward, Robin.
Yeah. And then, so the defense was striking different members of the jury, potential members of the jury, but the prosecution can do the same, can they not? So why would they have okayed more whites than
great
blacks?
Question. Absolutely, Robin. Great question. But here's the answer. The answer is that you have a number of strikes, meaning you in a particular case, if you're the defense, they're called peremptory strikes. Not to get too technical, but you can, if you're the defense or the prosecution, strike whoever you want for any reason or no reason, as long as the reason is not predicated upon discrimination. So the answer to your question is the prosecution has no say or control over what the defense does with respect to who they strike. Those are your strikes, and you're permitted as a defense attorney to strike who you want. The only criteria when you engage in those strikes, which is the removal of potential jurors, is that it not be discriminatory. And so the prosecution said, well, I don't control who you strike. I'm certainly believing you're doing it for the wrong reasons, the judge agreeing, but then the judge saying, nothing to see here. I think there's intentional discrimination. Let the trial proceed. I don't think that's the appropriate way in which to deal with the matter. I think, as noted before, the appropriate way is to do something about it. Select another jury pool, get rid of the jurors who were there, look to see what other compromises could be made, re-interview the people who were stricken from the jury, etc. That didn't happen here, and it's highly problematic for a system that really should work for everyone when you go before it.
So once you begin today with the pretrial motions, is it basically underway and the judge can't rethink that?
So what happens is that the judge can always rethink things. The judge can come back today and say, you know what, in second thought, I think we need to take the following steps, right? That's why it's good to be the judge. You do what you want in your particular courtroom. But then you move on today to the point, and there are these pretrial proceedings, right? As you look at there, the pretrial motions, the Confederate flag issue, the probation issue, and the blood test issue. Very briefly, this is what this is about. The Confederate flag, obviously, people have strong opinions about whether it stands for segregation and racism. Ahmaud Arbery's probation, the defense wants to use that to say, hey, he was a bad guy. Clearly, they're going to imply that. And with respect to the levels of substances in Ahmaud Arbery's body, they're going to use that, the defense, to say that, hey, that's why he was out of control. That's why we needed to engage in self-defense. So those pretrial motions that the judge is ruling on are very critical with respect to what gets before the jury and what's evaluated by that jury when they make the decision, as they're going to hear evidence for days about what happened, didn't happen, could have happened, shouldn't have happened, etc.
Joey Jackson, thank you. And we'll be hearing from you as this trial gets ready to get underway. Today, you're going to have the pretrial motions that focus on what evidence the judge is going to allow when the testimony starts tomorrow. Trial correspondent Jean Casares with this preview of what you can hear from the attorneys.
I think that we are definitely going to hear, and the jury will hear, the prosecution say this is a murder. This is a murder case. They jump in the pickup trucks, they get the guns, they chase him, they corner him, and they murder him. Now, the defense is going to say that this was a citizen's arrest case that became, during those minutes, a self-defense case. Travis gets out of the pickup with the gun. He wasn't going to shoot it, no intent to shoot. He wanted to talk to him. But Ahmaud then began the struggle. Ahmaud tried to get the gun, and suddenly Travis believes that he could be killed or seriously injured, and he shoots in self-defense. That is what the defense is going to say. Robin?
Jean, thank you so much. And tonight on HLN, legal experts will weigh in on the self-defense strategy, plus what we know about the final 4 minutes of Ahmaud Arbery's life. That's 10 p.m. Eastern. And then when opening statements begin tomorrow, we will take you to the courtroom inside for the gavel-to-gavel coverage on HLN.
Ahmaud Arbery went out for a jog and never made it home. Now, the 3 men accused of killing him face trial. And HLN is there with live coverage. The killing of Ahmaud Arbery, the jogger murder trial. Special coverage on HLN.